I mean, that's not the argument I'm making. I'm simply making, like, you're trying to premise, to offer the notion that we can have a society of 300 million people, or let's say, I don't know, you want to say New York City, just 1 million people.
World, 7
million people, where
billion with a B.
7 billion people, where everybody just agrees to all the rules and there's no material conflicts about how society is going to operate. And there is no there's no one entity that has a monopoly of authority to adjudicate these differences. That to me seems fantastical. And
here's
the thing.
You're misrepresenting something. You're misrepresenting something very important. Because when you say all rules, you're still in this current paradigm of thinking of like uniformity of a sort of flat texture of society, when in a free world there are differences among different groups of people in different communities. So we don't have to agree on all the rules globally. We only have to agree on one rule, and that's you own yourself and I own myself, and on ethical grounds.
What about property rights? What about property rights?
Right. Well, I generally believe in the Lockean concept of property rights. This seems to be the same one that's in line with this ethical concept of self-ownership. Of course, it's subjective based on how much labor mixing with natural resources qualifies you to own something.
Yeah. What if I don't?
There's not a subjectivity in that.
What if I don't?
What if you don't?
Yeah. What if I come from, let's say, a tradition of, Native American tradition of that does not recognize the property rights in a Lockean fashion? How do we resolve that? Well, you have a house. I walk into the house. I look around. I'm like, I'm going to sleep here tonight. How do we resolve that?
Well, I think generally speaking, we respect the right of ownership of a domicile, of a home, of a place to be able to protect yourself from the elements. But no, it comes down to being able to. I
don't accept that. What do we do about it? I'm going
to defend my home against intruders.
Wait, what? You're not going to get You're going to initiate force against me?
Well, when I believe that I'm defending my property and I'm asserting that I have a right to own that, you have violated my property, then that would be the act of aggression.
I assert that you don't have a right to own that property.
Well, I would hope that we could find a nonviolent way of resolving that.
You just told me I wasn't doing anything violent to you, man. I just came into your house. I was going to sleep, and you just told me you were going to beat me up.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to leave. I'm gonna defend my home by force if necessary.
What do you mean your home?
I'm not getting that here.
Wait, what do you mean your home? I don't even get that. Where I come from, my people, we don't have your home. It's everybody's home. I'm going to sleep here tonight because I need to sleep. And
there's universal reality of the human condition, of being an independent consciousness in your own body that comes with it a certain concept of ownership, that you own yourself.
I know you own you, but this is a house. It's not a you. It's not alive. It's land. It's part of.
Well, let me ask you, if I walk up to you and I say, you don't own that shirt, and I start ripping that shirt off you, what are you going to do?
I'm going to call the police.
Okay. So you have an agreement with someone else to do exactly what I would be doing for myself for you. That's fine.
But wait a second. I don't have a non-aggression principle. I'm not espousing. But wait a second. I acknowledge that you could come up and grab my shirt. And that's why I subscribe to the idea that we as a society need to provide a monopoly of authority to the state. And that comes with a lot of conditions in my mind.
Right.
And there may be disagreements about how that relationship works. But fundamentally, I understand that because you and I may have a different concept of who owns this shirt, right, that I need to subscribe to an authority that will adjudicate it. And you don't. You don't think that we need a third party to adjudicate it. But at the same time, you're also telling me that, from my perspective, you're arbitrarily drawing a line, and that is property rights exist. Now, it's one thing to say, like, okay, as a human being, freedom, okay, that doesn't implicate anybody else. But it's the moment you draw a line around something and say, this is mine too, not just this human body that I take with me, but this other stuff is mine. Well, then you're implicating the rest of us, because it's not an infinite resource. And it's not one that is portable with yourself. You're deciding property rights are okay. And that doesn't make any sense. Based on what? That taking property is in and of itself a violent, aggressive act, because you are saying that I deem this area to be off limits to you.